Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Trac, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast, again from sunny Tampa, Florida. Here for a CMMC ecosystem event. We're pulling people aside. Just saw your session, so part of your session. I did miss some of it, so that was good. So we've got Vishal here from Microsoft. Thank you for joining. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure, it's great to be here, and it's an amazing session. CUICON, it's my first time here, and I think a very important topic, especially right now with national security, the focus on data and what it means to the warfighter. My name is Vishal Amin. I lead our security business within the National Security Group at Microsoft.
Okay. It's kind of a nice, busy time for you guys a little bit.
I think it's always a busy time. I think one of the things that we see now, though, is there's a spotlight on national security
For sure.
with world and global events happening. But it's an exciting time because innovation has moved up to a spot where we're looking at data and AI and really cloud as enablers to national security.
To talk a little bit about that, how are you guys incorporated, working with, partnering up with the DoD and to solve all that stuff? Is there anything that's shifted a lot in the last 6-12 months on that front that you can talk about?
Sure. I think one of the goals for Microsoft all in has always been meeting our customers where they're at. And I think that's a really important concept to note, no matter what administration is in place and no matter what the initiatives are. It's important for us as an enabler of technology and as an enabler of AI to really meet our customers where they need us the most. One of the trends that we've been seeing recently is, how do we do more with less? How do we take, for example, security, where we have this large shortage of security professionals globally, but how do we make sure that all of those professionals can focus on the hardest tasks while the millions of other tasks can be automated and utilized and automated and really processed through things like AI or Copilot from Microsoft. And I think that's where it's important to understand it. We have to meet our customers where they're at. And that could be partnerships, which you called out. And it's a great piece here at CUICON. We've announced some recent partnerships with OpenAI. We've announced some recent partnerships across the board. I think even partnerships with the research community with our announcements on quantum recently, which have been amazing. So when we talk about national security and defense, it's not just DoD, it's all industry, and it's taking innovation and meeting it where the world is. And CUICON is a great example of how we do that with data and how we do that with controlled, unclassified information. There's plenty of organizations in the world right now that work with their defense customers through threat intelligence, through our Siemens SOAR Sentinel platforms, how they connect through there. And I think that's a great example of something we can highlight today.
Well, and talk a little bit about, if you can, around how partners are leveraging those tools, like, specific to this data. That's why it's called CUICON, not cybersecurity event, because we're specific to requirements, right? That matter about national security and not just saying that we're doing stuff. So are there ways that you see partners leveraging Microsoft's suite and tools differently than, say, 2, 3, 4 years ago?
One of the things that I've seen here at this conference is not just the customers, but the partners are leveraging platforms like GCC High to do their business. I think it's very impressive because it allows our customers to engage our partner ecosystem where they are actually operating in those government environments. A lot of the conversations this morning are around those basic frameworks around NIST 171, right? We talked about the FAR a lot here at the CUICON, but it's a lot easier to talk about these things, meet those compliance levers when we're all operating from the same platform. GCC High and our government cloud is a great place to do that. And to be able to leverage and embrace multi-cloud to be able to leverage the hybrid environments, to be able to leverage Azure to do more and connect with our partners and our other ISV partners is key. I look at our OT partners. We look at other organizations that do endpoint security. We look at threat intelligence partners. One of the conversations we had today here at CUICON is data comes from all places, all sources, especially in the age of AI. How do we connect that to a place where our threat intelligence professionals can see that, mitigate the threat, respond off of that threat? And I look at things like Microsoft's Sentinel. And I look at how indifferent of who you are, what cloud you are, what partner you are, partners can build dashboards. We have partners here that are doing CMMC work that are utilizing Microsoft's CMMC workbook to attest. We have partners here that are building connectors as MSSPs. We have ISVs at this conference that are building connectors so that their MSSPs and their SOCs can hunt off of the data coming in there from third-party organizations. So when you see optimization going on within the government, I think we have a responsibility as industry to help them see where they can optimize that, but also where they can see the most value out of that. And I think examples like workbooks in Sentinel, third-party connectors, and then also working with our customers in those GCC High environments are key, and all of which are crucially important when we talk about national security.
For sure. And that standardization, if you will, of making sure that it's not that complicated when it could be. If there was no Microsoft and there was no partnerships and there was no education on how these things are going to be used, the little guy would be lost and the big guys would be scrambled.
I think the little guy conversation is what we've heard a lot about today.
Yeah, for sure.
Is we have a lot of our big defense industrial based companies, and they do amazing work. And we wouldn't be anywhere without those critical integrators globally. But what we're seeing is this growth of smaller integrators. And one thing that people don't realize is these small integrators, they're not just in the defense industrial base. They are in the nonprofit space. They're in the manufacturing space. They're all over the industry. So how do we enable them to meet those controls without overly spending for licenses and for resources that they strictly just can't afford with one or two people organizations? And I think today you'll see that through what we're doing at Microsoft is really meeting them where they're at, understanding how we can get them onto these GCC High, these government community high platforms, so that they can better transact and interact with our Department of Defense and government customers and mitigate really all of that overhead that we're really trying to kind of trim down so that our government customers and our security operators can focus on the most important things.
Yeah, agree. And thank you for spending time. I know it's a busy day. This is all you guys get. You said it right. All of us are here. There's tons of ways to leverage things like Microsoft and the tools we have, but it does come through the word ecosystem has been brought up a lot. But having partners, having the customers trust it and understand it is a big deal, because then they're not be able to use it. So thank you for coming. Really appreciate your time, Vishal. And we'll talk again later, probably down the road, on some of these topics. If you are interested, we can do this again in 6 months or something like that.
Sure.
And see what you think then,
Of course.
how much it's evolved.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and have a great show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Quick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and check us out on YouTube as well. For more information about Trac, visit our website at www.cuictrac.com. That's CUICKTRAC.com.